Oh, good day, folks. Welcome to Thursday. Tomorrow's Friday. We're almost there. I can feel that weekend coming. Hopefully the sun shines this time. Anyway, first off, I'd just like to thank everybody who showed up for my guest appearance on the live stream with Rasputin's Castle and Patty the Potato Peeler, or Patty's Potato Peelers. It was a good time. I enjoyed that. We had a long, good chat. We kind of drifted off into some different topics and whatnot, but it was a good time. I enjoyed it, and I think they did too. And hopefully everybody who showed up to watch it or who has watched it in the replay has enjoyed it as well. So anyways, I thought I'd do something a little different today. Rather than a knife, I thought we'd drift back into the pouches avenue, but something more specific. Rather than just an EDC pouch, I wanted to look at my first aid pouch. Now, I used to do a lot of off-roading with an off-road group, Jeeps, trucks. It was primarily Jeeps, but we didn't make it exclusive. It was an off-road group, so whatever vehicle you had that could make the trip was more than welcome. It was a good crew. But this is the pouch I would carry on those trips. Because you get back there, and I mean, you're in the woods to start with. You're dealing with big hunks of steel with big tires, tramping through the woods and having to break out axes and chainsaws occasionally to clear some deadfalls, or strapping big cables on winches around trees and tugging a big hunk of steel and hoping that cable doesn't snap. There are precautions to take for that, but we won't get into that. So the point I'm making, there was a lot of potential for serious injury in that environment and in that activity. So I always carried this first aid pouch. Now, this I picked up off of Amazon. I did a lot of research looking for the right pouch, and there was a variety of things I wanted. Aside from the compartments inside, I wanted something brightly colored that would stand out. You tell somebody, go grab the big bright orange pouch, they're going to find that pretty quick. And I wanted it to have the maul attachment so I could hook it to a backpack that I kept other gear in. And it took me a while, but I found this one on Amazon. Now, there's no manufacturer name on this. As we open it up, I might find a tag inside. But I looked today, it was no longer in my past purchase items. But there are still a lot of other ones that, if not exactly this one, are quite similar to this one. So few of the key features, but one of the main ones for this pouch is you first got this buckle here. Now, there could be a lot of things you could do with this buckle, maybe, pin something down and whatnot. But the main purpose for this buckle is to attach to the back plate on this. Now, as you can see, it's maul equipped. It's got other hooks here. You can hook it onto something. But the important thing with this one is when it is attached to your pouch or your backpack, it's a Velcro tearaway. So somebody, rather than going and grabbing your whole pack, can just grab this, and you might have this strapped to a back of a car seat or something like that, or something, fixed around a roll bar or some other fixed object that, rather than having to go and deal with undoing the buckles, they can just tear it away from this right here. So that was an important feature that I wanted. And the purpose of that buckle is to strap around and secure it so it can't be torn away from this back plate. You could even have that if you have a tactical vest on of any kind. I mean, it's kind of big, but it could be strapped to a tactical vest, and then you just have to rip it away. So that was an important feature I looked for. And it's always good to identify your first aid kit in some way. So I've got the Red Cross symbol on there and my little ouch pouch sticker. So not sticker, but patch. Maybe that's a little bit of a joke, but I think it gets the point across. It also has a strap over the top to go over where your zippers are. And it's a clam shell design. It has very nice zippers on it. And then it opens up like so. Now there's a variety of different things you can put into a pack like this. These are just the items that I put in it. And I'll explain some of them. If we look over here, we've got some medical tape. Good for securing gauze pads in place. I've got a little bit of gauze wrap here. It's a 2-inch by 15-foot gauze strip. I've got a pair of tweezers, good for a variety of applications, from taking out splinters to maybe handling stuff a little more delicately. I've got some painkillers and anti-inflammatories. I've got some antibacterial hydrocortisone cream. And some may laugh at this one, but we have some feminine hygiene pads. These things are intended for absorbing bodily fluids. And if you have a cut or something, they're a very good pressure bandage to put on and help absorb those bodily fluids you might be leaking. And some of them have an adhesive surface to them, so that can come in handy too. Then we just have a whole selection here of different pads and dressings. And up here, it's just Velcros out, and then you have another large selection of, we'll pull one out. Non-woven sponge compression, French and English, just 4x4 sterile dressing. And then as we go over to this side, we have this little flip out pocket here. Zippers up, and I've got alcohol pads in there, alcohol wipes. There's probably some iodine wipes in there as well. You've got a little pack here that has more wipes and some Band-Aids and some Q-tips. And something I think is pretty good to have is, as I remember how to open it, a magnifying glass. That can be really good when you're looking for splinters or something in somebody's eye, and comes in handy if you need to start a fire. Then we just have a selection here, more bandages. We've got a knife. One thing I don't think I have in here that most first aid kits should have is a pair of scissors, but there's a knife in there, and I'm usually not far from a knife. We've got some paracord here that can be good for if you need to secure a splint or something like that. And I mean, just what can't you use paracord for? It's the duct tape of the rope world. We've got in here a space blanket that can be good for a variety of reasons, but one thing it's particularly good for is if you have a person who's injured and is in shock. One important thing to do is to keep them warm. So it's good for that. And I like to keep a couple of these hand warmers in here, which again can be handy for a person who's in shock or who's injured to keep them warm. And again, we have a variety of different size bandages and whatnot. And then we have a triangular bandage. And these things are almost as good as the duct tape or the paracord. You can use them for securing a splint. You can use them for making a tourniquet for somebody with an injured arm or shoulder or hand. You can use them to secure gauze bandages in place. You can use them to make a a donut ring. Say somebody has a piece of wood or a piece of metal embedded in their leg or their arm or their chest. You can make a donut ring out of that you can put over that, like around that item that's sticking up, that's penetrated the body, and then you can tie dressings around that. And I think that's about it for the majority of what I have in here. One thing I should have in there that I don't is a tourniquet. Now, that would be particularly handy, if you had somebody who maybe had a chainsaw or an axe accident. But being as it was an off-road group, we had absolutely no shortage of tie downs and straps and wrenching straps that could certainly be used for that application. And you can also use the paracord, a belt, anything like that. But that is one thing I do want to pick up for it, where I'm not exclusively using it for that purpose with the off-road group anymore. That I should have a good tourniquet in there. But that is pretty much the loadout there. I'm not going to make you watch me repack all that stuff. But I think that's a pretty good pouch. It's worked for me. We've even got some drainage in the bottom should water get in there somehow. So I think for me, that's been a good pouch. It's worked well. It stores everything that I want to. And like I say, this was that was an important feature for me right there, to have that tearaway connector to whatever you had it secured to. So I hope you enjoyed that little look. Certainly feel free in the comments below to make suggestions for other things that I should have in there, what I'm missing. I don't know everything. I don't know a whole lot, to be honest. My father used to make the joke that he said, I haven't always been right. I thought I was wrong once, but it turned out I was right. So, but I definitely don't think I know everything, and I can certainly you always have the opportunity to learn. Two people can do things two totally different ways and come together on a mutual understanding of, learn from each other and learn to better their understanding through somebody else. So you're never too old to learn, and you're never too smart to learn, and you're never too red to learn or learned to learn. Anyway, now I'm starting to ramble, so we'll cut it off there. So like I say, if you have any suggestions or criticisms, drop those in the comments below, please. If you liked the video, I'd appreciate it if you consider tapping that like button. And if you think you'd like to see more, please consider subscribing and maybe ringing that little bell. And if you haven't checked it out, head over to Rasputin's Castle and check out the live we did last night. I think it was a pretty good chat. Y'all take care.